In the last 2 weeks, obviously, it's been a crazy last couple weeks. But in your opinion, like what's happening with the Biden administration? He seemed excited to run. Then all of a sudden, they, report that he is falling out. Kamala Harris is now going to take over. What is kind of unfolding on that side?
Let me ask you guys something because you're not focused on politics, but didn't you?
I'm scared with this question.
What?
Hey, you're making me draw a line, and my whole thing is playing both sides of the fence.
This isn't like Democrat or Republican, but I was not surprised by the bad performance in the debate because I was watching just YouTube videos of all of these revealing videos that indicated that President Biden was having cognitive impairments, that he was having some kind of cognitive degeneration, and so I always thought that he's going to get the debate's going to be a bad night for him because he's okay when he was talking with a teleprompter, but he never did unscripted encounters with voters, and he didn't do debates, he didn't do town halls, all the things that politicians normally do. They kept him from doing that. He had fewer press conferences than any president in history during this term. So I was not surprised, and it was kind of weird to me that people acted surprised, and then the whole country pivoted against the whole media empire pivoted against him and said, "Oh wow, this is a huge shock." And I'm like, I was shocked. The thing that shocked me is that people are acting shocked. So I don't. There's no point to this. It's not,
honestly,
it's not a good story. But
I feel like it was. People weren't necessarily shocked. You're kind of tuning in for the entertainment factor of what's about to go down.
Yeah.
Because you expected something.
Yeah.
Like it was like. I said this the other day, that it was every time I saw him on TV, it was like watching your 5-year-old play on a jungle gym for the first time. You're like, oh God, something bad could happen. So,
what are your emotions when you see Biden and his cognitive function? Because I listened to your Rogan podcast, I listened to you on Dr. Phil, and you've had a long-standing relationship with him. What kind of person was Joe Biden 20, 30 years ago compared to now?
He was, I look at him now and I feel like he's, just that he's old and people age differently. And I know people who have dementia, and I have relatives who have dementia, and he acts like somebody who has, dementia. Oh, the Joe Biden I knew was a very, very sweet man. After my cousin Cara died, and my uncle had passed. My uncle Teddy had already passed, and then his daughter passed. And Biden, without saying anything to anybody, showed up at her funeral and her memorial and stayed through the whole thing, and spent the night with the family and all that. And he didn't do it. He did it just because he had compassion. Mm-hmm. Oh, I felt like he was that guy. I felt like he was from Scranton, Pennsylvania, that he was on the side of working people. And he always had problems with words. And he had some challenges during his lifetime with saying things that weren't true. But I thought, generally speaking, that he was, committed to high ideals. And he's a guy who spent 50 years in service of the country. And of course, there's benefits to being in political power. There's also tremendous sacrifices, and I think both Republicans and Democrats who make that choice, that it's not an easy way to live. It's a really difficult way to live, and most people, I think, could do, other stuff that, and so I respect anybody who makes that choice, even if I don't agree with them.